It's the IDP show, now you know.
Welcome to the IDP show. I'm Bobby Reynolds, joined here as always with my good buddy Adam Markham. Adam, how are you?
Hello, everybody. Special night, Bob.
Maybe one of my most looked forward to nights of the season. He's good looking. He's very charming. Got a wonderful T-shirt on. Joined with us again for the third, fourth, fifth time. I don't even know what we're up to at this point, but Kyle Borgognoni, content manager, wild stat puller, editor-in-chief, just all in all, great guy for the fantasy footballers. Kyle, welcome into the show, buddy. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Just came from my son's basketball game. We squeaked out a win, 20-18. You know, what a game.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
But I tell people this. This isn't like I'm on the footballers, so, you know, I'm at the status. I don't really go on a lot of shows anymore. It's just not part of my schedule.
Yeah.
But I will always go on this show every year.
Kyle, more importantly, you play IDP now. How's that IDP team looking?
You know, I was really fortunate that the team that it was a dynasty squad that I kind of was able to fall into. Mm-hmm. I had a pretty good squad. I have JSN on that squad.
Nice.
Lamar. And then at defense, I feel like I was just scraping by. And what I learned on this podcast 5-6 years ago, whenever I started, is that cornerbacks are just complete trash. I should go for the really trash guys on the field. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that helped me against my league mates, some of them that didn't know what they were doing. Mm-hmm. Don't go for the dudes that are like all pros.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the DB wish for Adam over here to kind of combat that. Adam,
what
do you think here?
I mean, yeah, I think that's you want to go with the guys that are kind of trash and get targeted. You can go that route. I prefer to go with them slot dogs though.
Mm-hmm.
Them boys playing in the slot.
Yeah.
Usually they're good tacklers playing close to the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's I'm glad to hear this, Kyle. I'm glad to hear that you're how did you finish?
I made the playoffs, early exit. You know, I just couldn't. My boys didn't really respond to my, my locker room talk.
I got you. Yeah, sometimes late in the season we're just kind of tired, ready for the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of boys to talk to in that room, man. So you got to get it's an adjustment period,
Oh me. Well, Kyle, we're glad to have you tonight. As always, glad to have you in the Sode Shack, in the virtual Sode Shack. You had a little trip to Bowling Green. You got to see Josh, which me and Adam are a little jealous about, but that's okay. Maybe next time you'll run through Bowling Green, and me and Adam are better looking, but Josh is definitely kinder, so we understand. But we're here tonight. Going to give you a little bit of a primer. Kyle's on with us. We're going to talk a little bit of the offensive players, the rookies coming into the NFL season in 2026. Kyle's going to help us out with that side of the episode. We're going to talk some of the studs. We're going to talk some of the dart throws that Kyle likes going into the draft for the NFL season. And then the second part of the episode, me and Adam are going to walk you through the IDPs you need to know.
We're going to do our best.
We're going to do our best. It's still early. The 2025 season is not quite over yet as we're sitting here watching the NFL Pro Bowl. It's very uneventful if you're just now tuning in. But, Kyle, with no further ado, where do you want to start the episode at, buddy?
We can start talking about quarterback and talking about the player, Fernando Mendoza, that's going to go number 1 overall. But I think the context around the quarterback position is kind of how I want to set the table. You saw a ton of players that went back to college for NIL money, or, there's speculation they went back because the Jets were sitting there and they didn't want to get drafted by the Jets, which, I kind of get it. I think for fantasy, and maybe you guys can also kind of connect the dots too of how this works in IDP league. Like, what matters most for fantasy quarterbacks is, do you run? And if you run, then we can kind of overlook some of your issues. Like, even players years ago, Justin Fields, terrible NFL quarterback. And yet for fantasy, worked for multiple years that you could still get production because you knew he was going to run the ball. This class is really, really short on any players that we can project to be starters right away, much less players that impact for fantasy. And the number I want to give you guys is, if you're a quarterback and you don't have at least 15% of your team's rushing yards in any season of your career in college, if you don't get at least 15%, you probably are not going to run in the NFL. Like you're probably not going to hit 400 yards, which isn't crazy, but that's like a Baker Mayfield or maybe even a Daniel Jones level of running the football. And nobody in this class really fits that bill in terms of guys that are going to be drafted on day 1 or day 2. So I just want to say that start off, like if you are in a super flex league, do not feel the pressure of I need to draft a quarterback. Fernando Mendoza will go number 1 overall. Yeah. He will have Clint Kubiak, which is great and great for his development, but he had just 9% of his team's rushing yardage, and his scramble rate is not like the level of the players that we usually want. So Mendoza is going to be a fun player to talk about, but the rushing part for fantasy, it's hard to project him as a top 12 guy right away.
Yeah, I agree with you. 225 attempts over 3 seasons, 2 of those at Cal, 1 at Indiana, 473 on the ground, only 2.1 per average, and then 11 touchdowns. So you're right, Kyle. I mean, the through the air stuff is pretty cool. 8,200 yards, 71 touchdowns over 3 seasons. But yeah, Mendoza just doesn't strike me as this next like Drake May, Bo Nix type.
Yeah,
you hype on him at all?
I am. I actually am. I mean, yeah,
Okay.
he's not going to be like a super high ceiling type of guy, but still, like I think he's going to be safe. Like I think he's going to be like a Jared Goff type of player,
Okay.
Kirk Cousins in his prime type of guy.
Okay.
I mean, that's still super useful. I mean, that's a fun offense he's walking into, in a great offensive minded head coach now. So yeah, I mean, it's a great situation. Genty, I mean, that's
Bowers.
As good as it gets there for running back and tight end. So also got to trust that they'll probably bring some receivers in. So yeah, I think it's a good situation trending up. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in him, but I don't know. I also understand like maybe not going that route in super flex because he doesn't have the ceiling that a lot of these running quarterbacks have.
Do you see any world where another team trades up for Mendoza, Kyle?
The only other team that's been speculated is there's stuff about Baltimore and them flipping Lamar Jackson. And I just 95% of the stuff you hear out there is just never going to come true. So I think when you have the momentum of a player that had the season he had with, just overwhelmingly, like everyone's very positive about his work ethic, everything else, like it can work. And I think just to your point, this team is trending in the right direction from the trash that it was this past season with Pete Carroll. And even his son was like the offensive line coach and the run game coordinator. It was just like terrible, terrible stuff across the board in play calling. But I also hope this defense is just bad. And maybe you guys can give some perspective on that. But like, I want a quarterback on a team that is pushed for pass attempts, because then that adds up to more scrambles in the pocket for fantasy. And I don't know how bad the defense is going to be, because then you're getting these type of shootout environments where in year 1, you can't expect a ton of fantasy goodness, but like over time, I think you can invest. They do need a number 1 wide receiver, and it should be Jack Besh, my boy.
Well, rest assured, Kyle, that defense is terrible. And they're also maybe going to get rid of Max Crosby this offseason.
Right.
That's been the rumors. So, I mean, that would make matters worse. So yeah, they're not good. They're not going to be good for a long time. They're going to be in tons of shootout type games.
Yeah, who are the starting linebackers going to be for them next year? Is Jeremy Chin, what did he sign? Multi-year, or was just a 1-year deal?
I can't remember.
But you're right.
Devin White was on a 1-year deal, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, is Crosby even up for another rebuild? Like best case scenario, you get a good quarterback, you get some good receivers and turn this around.
He should be. I think it's actually about to turn for Crosby. Like, I think just calm down, dude. Like, just
how many years until the Raiders are competitive?
Right.
2 years, maybe at best.
Yeah, and I don't know. They may not get the haul that they think they would for Crosby. I mean, he's been battling injuries. He's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be good for a while. But still, you know how that stuff goes.
I want to ask both of y'all this before we move on to the next player, and I want to do this for every player. Give me where you think you would draft Mendoza right now in a 1 QB and in a super flex rookie draft. So IDPs won't really be involved here because you're probably going to take Mendoza, obviously before a lot of them in Superflex. But do you have any spots off the top of your head, Adam, right now? I mean, you see Mendoza as like a back half of the first type of guy in
1 QB?
In either.
In Superflex, I see him probably as like a
top 6,
top 3 pick, I
okay.
would say.
Okay.
It'll be Love, Tate.
Yeah. Single
Mendoza.
Yeah,
I think.
I gotcha.
Single quarterback. I mean, I'm probably not gonna be reaching much for him.
Okay.
Like third round,
Yeah,
maybe.
that's kind of my thought. I
Late
think
second.
I think in XFL, which is our league with Josh, I think Jackson Dart went late third, and then everybody else obviously went after him. But
And that's fine. I mean,
yeah,
but still, it's like, I don't know. It's Jackson Dart.
agreed. Yeah,
He's going to have some stinker, of games.
for
so.
sure. But he does have Malik Neighbors hopefully back next year.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kyle?
The context of this year is tough because you think about all the running backs we had last year in rookie drafts that people were scooping up in the first round, Travion, Amarian Hampton, RJ Harvey, like those kind of guys were like, you had 4 or 5 dudes you're excited about. Quinshon Judkins, Genty, of course. You don't have that this year. So the supply and demand is a little different. Like the way that we're seeing rookie drafts so far, which is super early in the process, everybody should hopefully ebb and flow and change their opinion. It's Love. And then in one quarterbacks, it's like 5 receivers in a row.
Yeah.
And then people are kind of sitting there in the first round like, oh, who's the next running back off the board? Do I take Kenyon Sadiq? Is there another wide receiver? And so it actually pushes up Mendoza a little bit more than what we're used to. Like usually in a one quarterback league, I'm going to wait till late second. I think he's going to be back at the first, early second, just because the names are so bad. And we know he's the quarterback that will be invested in the first round. We don't know that about Ty Simpson, who his dad is the coach of UT Martin. I don't know if you guys saw this. He came out and basically said, everyone I talked to has a first round grade on him. And then everybody else said, no, we don't have a first round grade at all on him. So his dad had a very different opinion. Trinidad Chambliss out of Ole Miss. We still have to wait on, his legal situation. Garrett Nussmeier is probably going to be, a round 3 pick, like just not great for fantasy. And then you have a bunch of question marks about the rest of the dudes. So there's just not many other quarterbacks. So he might get pushed up into the first, early second in one quarterback leagues. But in a super flex, probably top 5 pick. I probably might take the wide receivers like Lemon and Jordan Tyson ahead of him.
Well, we just mentioned the rest of the quarterbacks. Do you want to talk about any of the rest of them, or are you okay to move on?
I'm okay. I'll just mention the name,
Okay.
Taylen Green. He is 6'6". He went to Arkansas and they lost their last 10 games, which it was a terrible, terrible season after starting 2-0. But he actually does have the rushing ability, and there will be a team probably on day 3 that just says, this dude is a freak. He threw a bomb touchdown in the Senior Bowl, or it was a deep throw. He stepped up in the pocket, threw to Malachi Fields. So at least there's a little buzz about him and about his toolsy traits. And if you're in a, deep dynasty league that has a taxi squad, he would be a player that'd be like, oh, he runs. He may never start in the NFL, but he also feels like one of those dudes that would like be a backup and then would like start week 16, 17, 18 when the teams are like giving up. So interesting name.
Kind of like last year, the backup to your boy up there in Seattle.
Jalen Milroe?
There you go. Milroe is kind of similar, but this guy rushed more than Milroe, right? I mean, 2,400 yards, essentially over 4 years. I mean, he didn't really play much his freshman year at Boise, but 2,400 yards on 459 attempts, 35 rushing touchdowns. You're not wrong, Kyle Borg. Somebody is going to try to reach for that.
Yeah, and for the game that we play, let's just remember, this is a game, is this guy probably going to be a good NFL quarterback? No.
Yeah.
But, if you're going to run like that and that works, take a flyer on him.
Agreed.
Yeah, backups get run every single year,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just send him to the Colts.
He'll get an opportunity at some point.
They run all those backup guys. We gotta crap on Josh while he's not here. All right, let's move on to some better, more interesting players. Kyle Borg, who's next on deck?
Yeah, we got to talk about Jeremiyah Love.
Yeah.
My comp, which kind of dates me in fantasy football, like it ages me. But my comp that I've been giving out on our Dynasty podcast is he is LaShawn McCoy with a little more giddy up.
Okay.
And I don't think maybe, if you haven't played recently, if you've only been playing recently, you don't realize like LaShawn McCoy was awesome for fantasy for so long.
Oh yeah.
And then at the end of his career, he kind of just like hung around, tried to get a few rings with a few teams, but like legitimate player, multi-threat, and Jeremiyah Love at Notre Dame, like he is a video game character in the way that we talk about Bijan. Like as a Falcons fan, watching Bijan is just pure art. It's so fun. he's not as smooth as Bijan, but he does have all of the moves that you would use on your Madden controller where you're trying to spin, you're trying to jump, like all of the things when you're watching his tape, and the production matches it. Mm-hmm. So the hardest thing about him is that his backfield mate, Jadarian Price, is also probably going to be a day 2 pick. And that's just a weird situation. We don't have that a ton. Same thing with the Penn State running backs this year. Mm-hmm. It's a very condensed class, but Jeremiyah Love, based on production alone, and just how he's been evaluated by scouts, like he's going to be a top 15 pick in the NFL draft. Mm-hmm. And when you have that type of production, you're going to get used. Like I think the number we gave is if you are drafted as a top 15 running back over the last decade, you see 290 touches your rookie year. Like just right away, teams are investing in you. And the way we saw with Genty or Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan recently, or Leonard Fournette, or just all these players that were drafted that high, you get fed the rock. So it's really easy to make him the 101. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of matters landing spot. I'm seeing the Saints a lot early in the process. I think they're picking 8th overall. So he's going to have the draft capital to be the 101. And I think it's not that complicated.
I'm sure this has always been a thing, but it is kind of interesting now that we're starting to see these, 2-back sets come out and be successful in the NFL. Roschon Johnson wasn't successful, but I mean, he came out with Bijan, kind of similar situation. Same last year with like Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, both came out of OSU. So I don't know. That's always interesting kind of for me to think about. But yeah, with Jeremiyah Love, you're right. The production is insane. Essentially most of the last 2 years at Notre Dame, 1,125 yards his sophomore year, 17 touchdowns, 1,372 his junior year, 18 touchdowns. So he had 36 touchdowns in 3 years at Notre Dame. Can catch the ball out of the backfield, 63 catches, 594 and 6 touchdowns. You have any comps, Addy, as far as like either player style or production for Jeremiyah Love? I know it's kind of putting you on the spot there.
Yeah, I haven't really thought too much about it. Everything I've been seeing though, as far as like mock drafts, I mean, he's going top 10. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, if he lands with New Orleans, Kansas City is one where I've been seeing he get mocked to quite a bit. I'd like to see him in Minnesota.
Oh yeah,
that'd be pretty sick there. But yeah, I don't think he's going to make it to us at 19, or 18. So, but yeah, I mean, another one of these elite running backs, he's going to be, I'd imagine immediately a top 10 running back for Dynasty, just out the gate, regardless of where he lands.
And even as the GT manager in XFL, on one of the worst teams in the last several years being the Raiders, I mean, GT still touched the ball a ton last year. And there were signs, that's kind of what I always want to see in rookie running backs. Like, you might be on a terrible team, you might not get a ton of touches, but just show me signs that there's going to be life for you in the next couple years. And, Jeremiyah Love might go to a bad team, but y'all are both right. He's going to get a ton of touches.
For sure. Yeah, whoever drafts him, I mean, they're going to be using top 10 capital. So,
yeah.
I don't think he's going to be a part of a committee or anything like that. It would be pretty funny, though, if Las Vegas drafts him.
Oh, yeah.
Be a hell of a committee right there, Kyle.
Would be awesome. I can't wait for it. All right, let's move on. Kyle, who's the next one?
Let's talk about let's just stay with Notre Dame, talk about his teammate, Jadarian Price, because I just think it's not normal for us to have two players. I don't know if you remember back in the day, Ronnie Brown out of Auburn went 2nd overall, and then Cadillac Williams went 5th overall.
Oh, yeah.
So 2 running backs from the same backfield went in the top 5. It's like that sounds offensive to us now, thinking of like how the NFL has progressed. But like Jadarian Price is interesting because what matters from college to pros, for at least the game we play fantasy, the sticky stat is rushing touchdowns. Like if you score 10 plus rushing touchdowns in college, and you do it at a pretty, good clip. He was 6 yards a carry. It works. It works in terms of translating. Quinshon Judkins was one of those players last year. It's like you were really good inside the 5 at Ole Miss and Ohio State. Guess what? The Browns trusted you inside the 5 a ton. So Jadarian Price, the touchdowns were there 11, but it's weird when you look at a player getting 2nd round draft buzz and you look at his production and you're like, dude, 674 rushing yards? That sounds pretty low. And I was doing some research. I was like, man, has there ever been a running back that was like maybe the backup on his team and ran for less than 700 yards their last year? Like that, it feels like in the NFL, the teams will look at that and be like, why were you not that good? Obviously, Jeremiyah Love is the answer why, but only one running back over the last decade had less than 700 yards in their final season, and they were drafted in the first 3 rounds. It was Josh Jacobs. And if you don't remember, Josh Jacobs was a first-round pick, but like coming out of Alabama, they had all those players. They had like Derrick Henry and Kenyon Drake and all these other running backs that were in the mix there that eventually like he had his moment, but not really. I mean, as a junior, just 120 carries. So there is precedent, but it's a very thin needle. And he caught 11 passes in college. So it's kind of like what we were saying with Roschon. Like Roschon was good, but there's a reason why Bijan was in front of him. And so I'm worried about a team spending second round draft capital on a player that just, never really got the opportunity. On film, he looks good. So I can't really deny it because it's the same offensive line for Love, same one for him, but 113 carries is not a lot to go off of.
So this is where offense and IDP collide, because here at the IDP show, especially I feel like with me and Adam, I'm always skeptical when there's not production. When the college production isn't there in regards to, man, look at this end, look at his bend, look at his athleticism. Why did he not have sacks in college? It's kind of very similar to like a running back or a wide receiver. Great, look at your metrics. Look at how fast you ran in Indy. Bro, why did you only have, 674 yards your last season in college? So, Addy, it's kind of what we always say, kind of stick to stats and stick to, the production in college, because most of the time that's indicative to what type of NFL player you're going to be.
Yeah, I have a hard time betting on guys like that. He'd have to really fall for me to be interested. I just think like you got a clear RB1 in the class, and then it's a lot of question marks after that.
Yeah.
And like for me, I'd probably just pivot to wide receiver in that range where he's, he may go.
I do like Singleton a lot, Kyle. Do you want to touch on him at all, or we want to move on?
Yeah, we can talk about him and the Penn State guys, because one of the guys that I co-host with, Matthew Betts, he's a Penn State lifer, as in like they go to every single Penn State event possible. They were even at the hockey game this past weekend. Like they're just Penn State lifers. So he goes to almost every single game. And what's weird about Penn State football is like you think of a couple of players that have come out, like Tyler Warren this past year, but it's been mostly like a run-heavy unit where not many wide receivers have come out there. Parker Washington was one of them that came out a few years back, but like it's been a run-heavy unit. So these two running backs, Kaytron Allen and Nicholas Singleton, basically just shared the load for 4 straight years. That's pretty rare in colleges to have two dudes come in the same time. Singleton was the number 1 recruit coming out of high school at the time, and he did just suffer an injury where he's going to be out. I'm going to mess up the injury, but he's going to be out for the next 12 weeks.
Yeah,
he's going to get drafted. He's going to be fine for week 1, but it is going to affect a little bit of his stock, and he's not going to run at the combine and stuff. But I think both of these guys and their skill sets are going to end up being day 2 picks. Maybe they end up in at round 4. Maybe they slip outside the top 90 or 100. They both have the frame. So that's like what like teams are going to look at and say, like, you could carry the rock in college. Singleton was a little bit better of a pass catcher. Allen is like, I saw a comp. He's like an innings eater. Like the way that you have like somebody in baseball, it's just like, he's going to eat up innings and kind of churn out yards. It's not going to always be the sexiest thing in the world. So both of these backs, I think, can work the NFL. But if we're talking rookie picks, I'm not like pounding the table saying I need these players, just because there's maybe a couple other guys that are a little bit more intriguing to me in terms of upside. Like these guys can work, but I can't see them being anything more than committee backs.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on either guy. Their production is pretty remarkable. I mean, in 4 seasons, both of them at Penn State, I think both of them were well north of like 4,400 scrimmage yards. And I think Singleton had north of 50 touchdowns, and I think Kaytron Allen had at least 40. But you're right. I wrote here, Kaytron kind of confuses me at times. He really kind of profiles a little bit more as like a short yardage back, but then you see him kind of break off these big runs, and it's just kind of confusing for a back that's his size. So I think both of these guys are super interesting, but we're already a fresh year off of being burnt on what's the Pittsburgh back now? Caleb Johnson, who barely touched the ball 10 times last year. Travion Henderson really didn't produce. Judkins was looking like he was going to be a great back until he got hurt. So it's kind of like when you draft a first-round linebacker named Isaiah Simmons or Kenneth Murray or Patrick Queen, sometimes you get bit on some of these guys, and it feels like maybe some of these running backs are falling into this similar situation as, I don't know that I really want to grab either of these guys at like the 104. That kind of seems like a wasted pick.
Well, and there's so many good running backs out there now in the league, and we get a fresh crop every single year that are always relevant. And then like if you look at like the free agent running backs out there, like there's going to be a ton of money backfields.
That's a good point.
So it's like, I think these guys are going to go somewhere where there's established players, players that have proven themselves before, just because it's a deep position.
Yep. And we also are kind of in a situation now where you've got the Kyle Monin guys of the world, and Isaiah Pacheco's hang around for a year or two. So there's beginning to be it's a little bit like linebacker. The NFL, I feel like, is pushing that category back further every single year. They don't draft them as much in the first and second rounds unless you're like a Carson Schwarzenegger or a Jack Campbell. And they're not valuing it as much. So it will be very interesting to see how much the NFL values both of these backs. Kyle, I know it's super early, but both of these guys in just a 1 QB league, do you see them as like mid-first, late-first type of guys? Do you see them even like, do you have Singleton ahead of Allen quite a bit? I mean, what are your thoughts on February the 3rd?
I think that you could convince yourself that back of the first, you could take one of them just because of how we're going through running back really quickly because it's Love and then it's a bunch of question marks. Like, Jonah Coleman out of Washington might right now be ahead of these guys.
Yeah.
Another guy that I want to make sure we mention, Emmett Johnson, will probably be ahead of for the fantasy crew. I could see them being ahead. So I don't know what Singleton's injury will do to affect his draft stock. It's just bad timing that it happened at the Senior Bowl. And as of right now, I think we had Kaytron Allen in our company mock go ahead of him. It was the very beginning of the second, and Singleton was like mid-second. Okay. So that's kind of where they fell in.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. It'll all change. One of them will run a fast combine, and he'll be the 105, and everybody will be so ashamed at themselves here in a year.
Yeah, there'll be some juicy landing spots out there. You know how it goes.
Oh yeah,
we talk ourselves into these. Yes.
Yeah, he's gonna rise. I like Rueben Hemby too, except for the fact that he's already like our age. Stayed in college forever. All right, let's move to wide receiver. Kyle, tell us the spicy wide receivers that you're into for the rookie draft.
Okay, so while running back might be a little bit thin this year in terms of just overall quantity, I think wide receiver can give people. We've been referring to it's a menu, and NFL teams are going to be able to kind of choose what works for their system. Like that's like zooming out. That's part of what we try to do. We are people, talking on a podcast about what we think other billion-dollar organizations might do.
Sure.
And then on top of that, will the player that we're scouting be good? Like there's just so many steps to it. But I think that if you want a big-bodied X wide receiver, if you want somebody who can be versatile, Jordan Tyson of Arizona State. If you want somebody who is like could play in the slot right away, Makai Lemon, day one, and dominate, like he can be that guy. You have big outside guys like Denzel Boston, who's kind of like a Mike Evans, Roma Dunze, big body type. Big fan here of Casey Concepcion of Texas A&M and his versatility. You have Zachariah Branch out of Georgia, who is like, if your team needs a gadget player, he can do it all. And so I like that we get a plethora of players to kind of sort through. I think what it comes back to for fantasy is, do you meet the production thresholds that we care about to be a, wide receiver 1 or a top 15 type of wide receiver? I think there's a couple of dudes that fit that. I don't think there's anybody in the Malik Neighbors category of like, you are going to see a 30% target share on day 1. Like, I don't think that exists in this class. I do think that there are a lot of wide receiver 2s that could step in. And I think there's maybe 1 or 2 that can kind of jump into being an alpha if the team that they land on is a good situation.
I agree with you, Kyle. I think Carnell Tate, to me, is probably the wide receiver 1. Super shifty, fluid, great hands. Obviously from, Ohio State there, it's hard to look away from that, just knowing the names that have come out here lately in the JSNs and the Chris Olaves and the Marvin Harrisons, and Jeremiah Smith will be coming out soon. So it's hard to look away from 6'3", 195, 1,800, 14 yards. I think Tate is probably going to be my wide receiver 1, but you're exactly right, Kyle. Jordan Tyson, Makai Lemon, those will probably be the next names after, Jeremiyah Love. Based on the way the NFL drafts them, their landing spot, whatever teams they go to, wherever they are in the draft, that will probably indicate where we draft them in rookie drafts. Addy, do you have any of these guys that you like over another one? You've always kind of been a guy that kind of enjoys the smaller, shifty Makai Lemons or even the Zachariah Branch types, 5'10", 180 from Georgia. So anybody you want to stick on? And
those top 3 are really good, man.
Yeah.
Tate, Tyson, and Malachi. I mean, they're all good route runners.
Yeah.
So, I think they can all be players that get have 100-yard catch season or 100 reception seasons, and I think there's a lot of value to be had. I think at the top of that, the top of this class, but probably not like any like true alphas, or anything like that. Carnell Tate's fun. He's kind of like a better, quicker T. Higgins type.
I could see that. But
he's very smooth. I think he's not really like the JSN Olave. He's just a little different. It's kind of like almost like a smaller AJ Green's kind of what I see out of him.
I like that. That's a cool.
Slightly smaller,
Because AJ was like 6'4".
Yeah.
I gotcha. Dude, I like that comp.
Yeah,
That's a good little pull. You agree there, Kyborg?
Fourth overall pick, AJ Green. Love that kind of stuff. I mean, Tate really is right now. Like he's getting 5th or 6th overall in some mocks. So it's interesting because you have the Ohio State pedigree that kind of like we look at a player and we're like, well, I obviously trust you. You went to the school. Mm-hmm. If I had to poke a hole in Tate, because I like his film, I think more than his actual production, which is usually I'm the opposite. Usually I'm going to start with the production and then I'm going to go, does the film really match this?
Yeah.
His film's great. And I like the T. Higgins comp too. 51 receptions in your final year is like incredibly low for a player that's probably going to be drafted in the top 10 or 15. But just like context wise, if we're looking at all the wide receivers, all the first round dudes, you really have to go back to like think of like, okay, who didn't have a ton of receptions in college that were drafted in the top 10? It's like Mike Williams, John Ross, like those kind of players that were clearly reaches. And then if you go out further, we started doing the study of like, do teams draft players that like don't catch the ball 60, 70 times in their college season? Is that normal? And the only guys that caught fewer than 60 balls that were drafted in the first round, Matthew Golden, Jalen Reagor, and Henry Ruggs. So I use that as just a statistical. I don't agree with that point where like he shouldn't be grouped with those players, right? Like, he's not Henry Ruggs or Jalen Reagor. Like he's a different type of athlete. But it's rare for somebody to only have 51 receptions, 52 the year before. It's just not a lot in terms of counting production. But we can explain it away by saying, like, who did this dude play with? Well, Jeremiah Smith, and the year before it was Zach Buka, and the year before that it was Marvin Harrison. Like, it makes sense that his production shouldn't be, 90 catches because of the team. But that's the only thing that like early in the process, I'm like putting that in the back of my mind as like, he's not a slam dunk top 10. And then for fantasy, I'm like, oh, it's easy. I'm just bringing that up. It's probably not going to be a very popular point with people, but to me, it's like, I can't just overlook it.
But also in the same vein, I tried to make Xavier Legette work, and here we are, and Jalen Coker looks like the better receiver in Carolina. So you can explain away and try to make any narrative that you want to in fantasy, but sometimes it just don't work out. You never know.
Yeah.
So basically, all those guys, depending on landing spot, so that's very indicative to where these guys are going to land. Do you see them in like the 105 back of the first type of range?
I think it's going to be Love 101. I think it's going to be wide receivers at 2, 3, 4, 5. Like
Okay.
I think you're going to see a bunch of wide receivers, and then people are not going to know what to do. Now, maybe the landing spot for the other running backs is good, and so people are like, I got to take a running back at 105, 106. But
Yeah.
I think the top three that you guys listed, Tate, Tyson, and Lemon, feel pretty locked in. Like Lemon doesn't have many things in his profile other than a later breakout age.
Yeah.
He's the one that we feel has the highest floor of the group. That it's like I would feel so happy in a full PPR. And then the other running joke we have is, if you want to play a drinking game, see how many times Makai Lemon is comped to Amon-Ra because they both went to USC and they both play in the slot, because you will see it in every single scouting profile and every single he reminds you of Amon-Ra. Well, of course they went to the same school, but he's going to be good. I'm very excited for Makai Lemon.
Lemon's a weird one to watch because he's kind of smaller. He's kind of stockier. He doesn't really give you this kind of tall, lankier style.
But he's got the dog.
Dude, he's kind of a dog, and his route running is better than his frame would indicate, in my opinion. I don't know. Yeah, that's a stretch. So the only article I really write for the website, the IDPshow.com, if you're new here, is basically I will do a rookie draft 101 to 102, whatever it is. Like basically every couple of months I'll have a new iteration of it. And what I'm hearing you say early on, Kyle, is that Love is the clear 101, and you don't feel really great drafting any wide receivers at 2, 3, 4, or 5. It feels like if there's no Malik Neighbors, if there's no Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson this year, or JSN for that matter, that really, if you've got those spots, it might be better off to kind of punt those kicks a little bit back.
I think it's
from a production perspective, it sounds like you're going to be disappointed taking Tyson at 3.
I think I would be fine with it. It's more of I feel like at this point in the process, I don't feel so strongly that one of them is just so far ahead of the other. So I actually feel them kind of all in the same tier as of right now.
Okay.
And I'll probably end up in a different spot. Like in a full PPR, I would consider Lemon at 103, 104. I think Tate is the easiest one right now for me to just be like, okay, I like his tape. Andy really likes Jordan Tyson, Andy of the Footballers. That's also some Arizona State homerism. Just going to throw that out there.
Yeah.
But he's smooth. And so his tape looks really good when he's on the field.
Yeah, he is smooth. All right, let's move on. Any of these other wide receivers that you want to talk about before we move to tight end?
Denzel Boston is a big boy. Yeah. And when you are a big boy in college, you bully the little kids, these other kids that are going to end up, selling insurance or,
hey, easy.
or they are, or they're financial planners. That's what they're going to end up being.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, there you go. But hey, we need our insurance.
Yeah, you gotta have it.
Important.
I mean, this isn't a plug here, is it?
Hey, you'll regret it if you don't got it when you need it. I'll say that.
No, but he's a bully, and that's a good thing when you're in college. When we talk about players that can win 50-50 balls, it is really fun. The problem with 50-50 balls and with contested catches is it is the least sticky stat of any wide receiver stat year to year. Is it by far the worst in terms of contested catch rate, because it's really not that many opportunities. I was talking to someone earlier today, Denzel Boston, his contested catch rate looks awesome. But when you get 15 opportunities, that's it. That's such a small sample size to work with. Puka this year, led the NFL and set the record, at least in terms of the last 10 years, of contested catches. He was a bully in the air. And you think about Puka, it's fearless, great hands, not the biggest dude in the world, but just fearless. Mm-hmm. Year to year, that stuff is super volatile. You guys remember years ago, it was Kenny Golladay, who was like the 50-50 menace. It just like when the ball was in the air, he's just a big body dude. And then the NFL figured out, oh, why don't we just have 2-eye safety help? And you can't do anything. So I don't really love players like this. They're like the Mike Evans type that like, if it hits and you get a ton of volume, you can be a touchdown machine for 10 years. If it doesn't hit, you have some really volatile years. So Denzel Boston kind of scares me a little bit.
Or you're like JJ Arthega, Whiteside.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hey, did you know that his dad is David Boston? Remember him from Arizona? The dude that was like incredibly jacked?
Yeah,
That's his dad.
Huge dude.
That went to Ohio State.
Yes.
Was it San Diego Charger?
Yes.
Yes. My brother had a poster of David Boston in his room growing up.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Dude, I remember he was like, yeah, he was in the SI magazines a lot as a kid just because of
He was jacked.
this guy's clearly on roids. So
We didn't know it at the time.
Yeah. It was all cool back then.
it was accepted.
Yeah.
It was a way of life, honestly, guys.
I will say the Denzel Boston team is the only one that kind of worries me. Fresh off of like Jalen Polk didn't really make it. Jalen McMillan kind of looks like maybe a thing now, but now Rome Odunze has kind of regressed this last year. So yeah, Denzel Boston is a little bit worrisome to me. He kind of gives me just the shivers just a touch.
So yeah, it's those wash-in receivers, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we've been burnt a lot by them.
the pedigree.
It's hard to trust again.
Yeah. I hear you. All right, let's move on. Kyborg, anybody else you want to touch on? Wide receiver? Do we need to move to tight end to start wrapping the episode up? You tell us where we're headed.
I'll just quickly mention a couple SEC dudes because I'm in SEC country. So
Yeah, please do.
Zachariah Branch is a really fun, like watching college football. If you've watched over the last couple of years, like USC games, Georgia this past year, like fun player to watch. I always worry about players when you look at their ADOT, like his career ADOT is like under 7 yards. You end up being Kadarius Toney or Rondale Moore. And so that doesn't mean he can't be used differently in the NFL. Like if I could be really clear about one thing, if you're scouting rookies, here's what we're all doing. We're all copying off each other's papers at some level.
Yeah.
We're all looking at what not Adam though, of course.
Adam's fresh.
No.
We're all
the OG.
We're all looking at what Dane Brugler said. We're all, looking at those things. And the crazy thing is NFL teams are doing the same thing. And I was sharing before the show, NFL GMs, we think that their head is around this 24/7. They have scouting teams, but like a lot of these dudes just finished the regular season or the postseason. They're like, their head isn't around these prospects. They're not comparing Zachariah Branch. Like they have people on their team. They don't fully understand what they can be in the NFL. There's just so much more to the process, especially in early February. He's grouped among a group of players that haven't worked for fantasy, and he's worst in this class in targets above expectation. That scares me. And could it be a fun player in the NFL that works as the wide receiver 3 slot guy? Sure. That's not a player that's going to be somebody you bank on week to week in fantasy usually. So Zachariah Branch is a fun player. I would love it if he was on my NFL team, my hometown Falcons. We need a slot wide receiver. And yet for fantasy, it's just not going to be there, I think.
He's kind of like some of these defensive tackles. They're going to be better for their actual NFL team than they are going to be for fantasy production. And you're right, Kyborg. The amount of GMs and teams that we see in my rookie mocks and Adams ranks on a week-to-week basis would blow your mind. Yeah. I mean, the Browns just living in Adams ranks.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of doing all the work for these guys.
Scrapping and
I
clawing
really
for anything they can get. Well, let's scrap and call just a little bit more. Any other wide receivers you
Kyle,
want to touch
make
on?
sure turn on ESPN right now, man. This Pro Bowl is so good. 44-52.
Wait, is Shadarian yet?
I think I saw him on the sidelines.
Oh, so he
I
can
don't know.
attend.
I don't know.
There he is.
He's in. Yeah,
As
you want
we
to get over there
speak.
now.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
well, now you got to give me the play-by-play of when
Yeah.
he's in.
So
All right.
weird little
Shador's
handoff to Shadur, and he throws the ball.
touchdown.
Yeah. Just like we all saw it.
That's really what just happened.
Yeah.
Touchdown
Wow,
to.
I can't. I gotta rewatch in the morning. Just grind that film.
Who is that?
It looks like a cornerback. That's the cornerback from the Bears? I don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah,
in
this
game.
is all weird to us.
But yeah, you're gonna want to watch that back, Kyle.
I go wake up my wife.
Yeah,
I would.
the whole
Hey,
family, the whole family, get them
Much
all
watch
up.
TV.
one
Babe,
of those-
Shadur's on the Pro Bowl.
Is that going to be the meme? Is like my wife turns over, she's like, I bet he's cheating on me. No, he's watching
He's watching Shadur throw back shoulder fades to DBs in the Pro Bowl.
That's right. Of course he is.
Oh man, nothing much. But look at Dak rolling around on his
Poor Micah.
his over. Oh yeah,
This is
there
an
you go.
event. You gotta check us out.
This is
Kyle.
something.
And
This is
listeners,
really
if you-
something.
If you didn't watch the Pro Bowl, figure out a way to do it.
Well, let's finish here. Casey Concepcion, Chris Bell out of Louisville, the Chris dude out of Tennessee, Jeremy Bernard. Any of these other wide receivers you want to talk about, or is it time to move on to Kenyon Sadiq?
We can move on to Sadiq. I'll just say, SEC wide receivers, like you're at big time program, but if you are not targeted on a per routes basis, like very frequently,
Yeah.
that's just not going to work. So Jeremy Bernard, Jacoby Lane of USC, Chris Burzell, like you're just not that dude. Casey Concepcion was that dude all through college and had an early breakout age. So he's the one that I really like, that I think you're going to end up getting around the 106 in your rookie drafts, maybe 107. He's probably going to end up being a first round NFL draft pick. So I would be very excited. I'm seeing some mock drafts where he'd go to the Bills, those kind of places to be a number one.
The production seems just kind of yucky for the wide receivers this year. There's nobody that, you're hoping that they just kind of blew you away, and they really didn't. They just had 800 yards and 8 touchdowns, and it's like, oh gosh, I don't really know that I'm trusting that in the NFL.
You trying to get rid of these picks? You trying to trade back to next year's class?
Probably.
I'm doing that. The back of the first and second was pretty valuable this past year. I feel like it's not going to be there. And if you want to wait, that's fine. The picks are probably going to gain value because, as much as we're poo-pooing on some of these picks right now,
Yeah.
people are going to fall in love. The NFL is going to fall in love with these players. And so those picks might be valuable right near your rookie draft where people are like, oh, I really want this player because of this landing spot. But we're like, his production profile sucks.
Well, and here's the other thing. If you play in an IDP league, there are some ballers coming out of the rookie class this year. So if you're in an IDP league and you don't love, grabbing a Casey Concepcion at like 109, go grab you a Caleb Downs or an Avrell Reese, or hang around to the second part of the episode where Adam and I talk about all those guys. But
Second, third, fourth rounds. You can build your defense up pretty nice this year, I think.
there's some ballers coming out too. So Kyle, you'll have to jump in the second part of the episode.
Caleb Downs is he's a Georgia boy, so soft spot in my heart. His brother Josh Downs went to North Gwinnett High School right down the road. He was
Josh Downs going to be the wide receiver one for Josh's beloved Colts this next year, it looks like.
Is he?
Right? Isn't Pittman hurt?
I think he might.
Pittman.
Pierce will be gone.
Yeah,
Oh,
Pierce
that's
will
it.
be
Cut.
gone.
That's what it was.
Yeah, Josh Downs. Live it up. Here we go. All right, Kenyon Sadiq, and then we're getting Kyle to bed.
Ooh, okay. Kenyon Sadiq will be a first-round pick. If you want to have a fun time, you can watch his highlights, watch his film. But we put a lot of pictures on our website of different players and different contexts and stuff. He has the best photos of any player in the draft of just he's jacked. He also has a great, if you're pressing up on the controller, you're going to get to jump a ton. He has the tools at Oregon. For tight ends, it actually was fine production wise, not great, not like Bowers or Warren or Loveland, what they did in college, but 8 touchdowns is good enough in terms of production. I will say that he's going to be in the first round. And yet if I compare him to all the other first round tight ends over the last decade, we had TJ Hawkinson, Dalton Kincaid, David Njoku, those kind of guys. He's kind of more towards the bottom tier and not what Pitts or Bowers or Warren or Loveland did in college. So it's hard for me to say right away he's going to be a difference maker like we've seen rookie tight ends recently. Yeah. But he's only 21. He's jacked, and a team's going to feature him if they're going to take him in the top 20 of the NFL draft.
Yeah, it feels like one of those guys that you're going to have to be a little more patient on. You remember, I feel like there's been some of these young tight ends that have hit so quickly. in recent years, but that wasn't always the case. Like it took
Right.
Kelsey, 3 or 4 years. Kittle, same thing, right?
Last year especially is on everybody's mind, just with like Fannin being really good, Aronze Gadsden, having a lot of value early on in the season before all the weirdness with the Chargers. But then, yes, Colson Loveland, Tyler Warren had his value and everything with Daniel Jones. So it is a little bit, kind of recency that we're just thinking about all these tight ends being good so quickly. But Sadiq could be good, but he does seem to kind of maybe go the Evan Ingram route to where it's going to take you a couple years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But great tight ends, it seems. And this is a good class from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
So
Max Clare, Eli Stowers, Dalen Bentley, all guys that are going to have some relevance and probably be drafted in some rookie drafts.
Eli Stowers is probably the most interesting. Like his story is pretty wild because he went to Texas A&M as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And was the backup there for a couple years, transfers to New Mexico State, and then kind of like has some production as a receiver. He runs the ball a little bit. He was there with Diego Pavia, and then they both transferred to Vanderbilt. So they were boys together. I don't know if that hurts his stock at all, but Stowers was the John Mackey Award winner, so top tight end in college, and leads this class in all the like really cool production stuff that we really care about, like receiving EPA, target share, zone coverage stuff. Like he's the one that's going to translate. You're also, if you want to play a drinking game, he's going to get compared to Evan Ingram about 30 million times over too.
Yeah.
And I think it's warranted. The best parts of Evan Ingram, if you play in full PPR, was you remember those seasons where it was just like, oh dude, you're getting targeted left, right, and center. The worst part of Evan Ingram is that he's not really a tight end. He's like a slot wide receiver who happens to be labeled as a tight end. So I don't think Stowers is going to be an every down tight end the way that like Loveland was a receiver at Michigan and yet he could block. Mm-hmm. Stowers is going to end up being more of like Kincaid, where like Dalton Kincaid, when he's on the field, is targeted at an insane route. Dalton Kincaid ran like 200 routes this year. Like it was like really sad when you think about it. Yeah. He wasn't on the field a ton. So Stowers is interesting for fantasy and full PPR, but I don't know how teams will see him as, a multifaceted tight end because everybody's doing 12 personnel these days.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's going to fit in.
Because Sean McVay is doing 12 personnel.
Got
everywhere.
to, man.
Yeah. Ferg baby up there, Colby Parkinson. Fun little time. I can't believe my Rams aren't in the Super Bowl, but I regress. We will talk about Eli Stowers. We will not talk about the Seahawks. But 6'4", 235. I mean, you're not wrong. 111 reception in 2 years at Vandy, 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns. So it'll be cool to see where the NFL values him because that will help us in our rookie drafts because February 3rd, 2026, I'm not so sure where to draft Stowers. He's probably like a 3rd, 4th rounder at this point maybe, depending on a pretty decent landing spot. But, Kyle, we want to take you out with, last year you left us with a little Bayshaw Tootin love. Ooh. And, being a Bayshaw Tootin manager in the XFL, I think I drafted him. Josh took the little running back in New York. Scatabo at like the 205, right ahead of me. And I took Bayshaw Tootin, and I'm cool with it. I'm hoping that ETN moves on to greener pastures this offseason.
It was a long game.
And it's Bayshaw season. Can you leave us with any Bayshaws to end the episode? Are there any dart throws that you think are worth throwing in 2026?
I don't know if this is a dart throw, but I will say the production is pretty nice for Emmett Johnson, running back out of Nebraska. Just what translates to fantasy is just touches and touchdowns, and he had over 40 receptions. So if you look over the last decade, here's your hot stat to end the show. Over the last decade, we have 9 running backs who caught 40-plus passes, and they were drafted on day 1 or day 2 of the NFL. So the kind of draft capital we care about for running back, were you in round 1, 2, or 3? 9 running backs did that. Of those running backs, all of them except for CEH ended up being an RB1 in full PPR. So if you catch the ball at that level in college, you probably will have some level, and he actually had the rushing production too. So Emmett Johnson's one of those names at this point that I would be very happy to have and might end up being in that round 1 conversation in a couple of months. Just depends on how NFL teams view him.
Yeah, I like that. 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns. Caught 46 balls for 370 yards last year and 3 touchdowns, but also caught 92 balls in 4 years at Nebraska. So, I mean, as the NFL kind of transitions a little bit more to not valuing the running back as much, and there's a little bit more dart throws, kind of like we talked about earlier. Some of these later round guys, and then even some of these UDFAs have a little bit more value. It's always helpful to know these deeper running back names. Adam, you want to touch on anybody else? You good to let Kyle Borg go?
Yeah, Kyle, thank you for this. You get me caught up to speed. I've been more into the IDP side of things, so I've got just a very surface level knowledge of these guys, but I feel ready. I'm ready to draft now.
It seems like maybe in 2026, it's best to have a surface level knowledge of these guys. It might be best to just say, hey, how about I turn this 109 into the 103 in 2027.
We've really been hearing it for years, though.
Yeah.
That's kind of like my mindset, as we entered into 2026. It's like, everyone's been down on this class for a while. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm not going to, I think we're really looking forward to next year.
I agree. Looking forward to next year.
So best of luck to all the prospects. We do wish you well. We do hope that you score some fantasy points.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we're going to have to draft you,
we're still looking forward to next year, though. I mean, we're getting older. Another year.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
We're not. Everything's starting to ache these days.
Right. World's in a bad spot.
Yeah.
I could see us time.
That ice storm took us all.
Sure.
Kyle, are you still good? Y'all still? I mean, you have power clearly.
Yeah. We made it through. I mean, it's pretty weak down here in Georgia. Like the fact that they, had school shut down. I almost don't want to tell other places in the country because they might laugh. Like our little dusting cost us to shut down.
No, I mean we are still
Kentucky same way.
We're still eight days out. I mean we're trucking on as well.
Right.
A little dusting gets us as well. So just because we're Northerners doesn't mean we're not immune to it. Kyle, thanks for coming on, buddy. I'm sorry Josh couldn't be here. He's not sorry because he's on vacation somewhere.
He's on a Disney cruise.
Per usual, every 2 weeks Josh got to go somewhere and leave me and Adam with some mystery guests. Yeah. But the best of all mystery guests, Kyle, I know you don't always highlight what you've got going on, but you're a man of many talents. A man of great mystery as well. But Kyle, where can the people find your work? What do you have going on in 2026? And send out your home address for people to send you letters.
Social.
Send you some gifts. Whatever you feel like.
Yeah, no, I'll start off with my mother's maiden name, which is obviously all my passwords and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, so 2026, I mean, we're about to release the Dynasty Pass with the Fantasy Footballers. That goes live on Super Bowl Sunday. And then I really pounded the table this year. I said, I want to make sure that all of our scouting reports that we have for players that we talk about on the show. So I host the Dynasty podcast. I want to make sure that all behind the scenes stuff, Jason has this little black book that he's been doing his prospect scouting stuff over the years. I wanted people to have access to that. So we're adding that in March for part of our Dynasty Pass where people can just get more than just the production, more than just they need some context for players. So every single player for these rookies will have a full scouting report involved in there. And then it is a big old project for the next 3 months to get ready for the ultimate draft kit. The Ballers are incredibly good businessmen. Mm-hmm. They're really good at podcasting, but they're really good at SEO. So anytime you search for draft kit, it will always show up until Jesus comes back. And so that part of the project is always working in the back. Like that's what I'm always, hyped to do and finding really stupid stats. And, I'm blessed that I get to do that for my job and, hang out with my friends and talk about stupid football stuff.
It has been fun, Kyle, to kind of see you enter the spotlight. I don't even know when y'all started it. I tried to catch as many of the fantasy
fantasy football world.
Yeah,
some are saying that
the Fantasy Footballers Dynasty podcast. It's been very great to hear your voice on there here lately. You have a lot of good stats that you pull, but you also have a lot of good things that you have said here. And when did y'all start that?
This will be our 4th year.
Oh wow, time is flying.
Yeah, it's wild. Kyle just levels up every single year.
Yeah.
Same with the Fantasy Footballers. It's just a lot of leveling up going on.
Yeah, we need to get in touch with them in terms to the SEO stuff. You know,
Yeah,
that would be
right.
helpful. Thank God we're like one of the few people that do IDP. So if you search it, you're gonna find
Right,
us,
yeah,
you
there's
know.
just nothing out
Adams
there.
ranks just staring you.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
Adams ranks. Like you said, there are NFL teams. There's NFL GM right now sitting on the can.
Oh yeah,
And he's scrolling.
Definitely a Titans fan too. If he's sitting on the can, that's a Titans thing to do. Well, Kyle, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you. Maybe next time Josh will grace us with his presence, but he probably won't. He'll leave Adam and me again to be blessed by an hour of Kyle Borg. So we've got you out an hour and a half early. We appreciate you as always. Thanks for coming on, and stick around to the second part of the episode where you will hear much worse takes, but they will be about the defensive side of the football. So, Kyle, thank you, and we'll see you here in a little bit.
Thank you, boys.
Welcome back to the IDP show. This time it's just me and Adam. Kyle Borg's gone. But the better part is we're going to get to talk some IDPs. So
That's right. That's what you're here for.
this is the bread and butter. This is what you're here for. You didn't come for the takes on the quarterbacks and, Tate and Singleton.
Who cares?
You came here to talk about Avrell Reese.
That's right.
Let's jump into it, Addy. Linebacker edge, Avrell Reese out of Ohio State. Pretty clearly, even early on, February 3rd, 2026, we're very early on in the process. The 2025 season is not even over yet as we are sitting here watching Micah Parsons drive around on a scooter at the Pro Bowl, and Shadur Sanders is throwing fades to defensive backs in the end zone.
Mike always got to make it about himself.
Always. Shadur's trending that way as well. But Avrell Reese projects to be probably the top IDP off the board. You've studied him. You've already looked at the metrics. You've already kind of dug into the analytics. You've looked at the the production from his college years. Where are we going to draft Avrell Reese in IDP, and anybody that he kind of reminds you of?
Yeah, he's tough. I mean, the production's not there for this guy. He's also, it's like he's playing multiple positions, right? He played off ball. He played a good helping of edge snaps. So that's the conversation with him. What position does he play, right? Based on all the mocks I've been looking at, I've been looking at like a bunch of them lately. All the guys we like, but based on all these mocks, typically the first defensive player off the board. Dane Brugler had him going second in his 2.0. Mel Kiper had him going 2 in his latest. NFL Stock Exchange boys had him going 3 in there. So, yeah, I mean, I think this guy is going to be a top 5 pick, most likely landing with the Jets, the Cardinals, the Titans. So good spots. Those would be great spots. But, yeah, we don't have a ton of data, just 960 career college snaps. And then, yeah, the raw numbers weren't anything gaudy, 36 games, 112 tackles, 7 sacks, 13 TFLs. So he's a hard one to judge, but he has all of the makings of a guy. Like we got to see a lot of him as a pass rusher, and it was pretty elite.
Yeah.
So he reminds you of like Micah Parsons, Abdul Carter, Jalen Walker, one of those guys.
Yeah.
And also, if like he's being projected this high, like as the first defensive player off the board, like going as a top 5 pick, just feels like that's a too high of a pick to spend on an off-ball linebacker. Like you want that guy being primarily an edge rusher if you're going to spend that high a draft capital
For sure.
for someone like that. But yeah, I mean, if you look at his final year at Ohio State, 651 snaps, 327 were on the defensive line, 286 were in the box, 34 in the slot, 2 were outside, and then 121 of those were pass rush snaps, and he redshirted 27 pressures, so that's a 22.3% pressure rate. Just extremely versatile, extremely explosive. I think he's going to test extremely well. He's going to be one of these approaching 10 RAS types, I think. But yeah, he's a risk, I mean, he's a risk. Like we've seen it not work out for a lot of those Micah Parsons types, like Zaven Collins, Isaiah Simmons, like these tweener types.
Jihad Campbell.
I think he's going to be okay. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of those types that don't always pan out.
Those tweener sizes.
Yep. And there's just not a lot to go on with him.
You want to see either more tackles or more sacks. We're a little bit too in the middle with both of them. That junior year at Ohio State, 69 total tackles, which is nice, 10 TFLs, 6.5 sacks, 2 PDs. So it's like that's very unimpressive. But when you watch the guy play, I mean, he's kind of terrifying, honestly. Explodes when he rushes the passer. I'm sure that you would probably agree that I think he would be best suited as an edge.
I think so.
I think his tackling is honestly really good. I honestly, even watching a little bit of his tape, I don't think he's a liability in the passing game. Like, I don't think you want him dropping back in coverage a ton, but I think he does kind of suit that. Probably the, I don't know. I'm trying to think of who I most similarly see him as in the NFL. Because you're right, that tweener size is just that's the only thing that's a little bit worrisome to me. The production is not crazy. The tweener size is weird, but you're right. He's going to run something crazy in Indy.
Yes.
The metrics are going to be insane, and his stock is only going to rise. I mean, there's only going to be off-season hype and off-season talk about, so-and-so's team is trying to move up. He's going to be the second overall pick. But
I think that's where we're headed. I mean, because we're already there without the combine, and the combine is going to be good.
yeah.
There's no doubt.
Trayvon Walker was also, kind of seen as like a guy that was coming in as a projected kind of as a developmental guy. And I don't know that Reese is really a developmental guy, but
I think by default he is, just because he hasn't had the reps that a lot of these other guys
sometimes
around him have.
When you just kind of you would feel a lot more comfortable if the size was like, all right, he's definitely an off-ball guy,
Right.
or if you looked up and it was like he had 14 sacks last year.
Yes.
Show us you can get home, or show us you're the right size.
Yeah, with Reese, I think he has the highest ceiling in this class, but also he is
Scary.
very risky.
Where you see him as a late first in single quarterback.
Well, he'll probably get there. I'd feel better taking him early second, mid second.
Okay.
But I don't know that that's going to be with the weakness of the offensive side.
Yeah.
And I mean, we could see a handful of IDPs being drafted in the first round.
Yeah, if you skip to this part of the episode to listen to just me and Adam, which probably you didn't do, you probably listened to Kyle.
Right.
You should
turn it off.
You should go back and listen to Kyle because, we're a little bit skeptical about the offensive class. There's going to be some great IDPs that come out, but the offensive class is a little bit of a risk as well. I mean, you've got one or two decent offensive, you got a running back and a wide receiver, and then there's a lot of twos and threes after that. So let's get to our second person here. Maybe one of the best safeties to come out in the last 5 years at least. Caleb Downs, Ohio State. Again, just a great team that continues to get better and better every single year and just always has these guys that are super, super, uber productive. At a year, the DB Whisperer, what do you think here on Downs?
Yeah, it's pretty hard not to love this dude. 5-star recruit, productive immediately as a freshman in Alabama. Put up 107 tackles and 2 INTs. Transfers to Ohio State for his sophomore and junior years. Wins a natty.
Yeah.
And then the elite play and production continue. Complete player that can play pretty much anywhere you need him to. During his college career, he played 940 snaps at free safety, 865 in the box, 574 in the slot, 76 on the defensive line, and 28 at corner. So for the sweet spot boys and girls, that is 48%.
It's the sweetest.
But legit, plays everywhere, can do anything asked. PFF grades are elite. Overall grade of 85.6 in 2023, 87.9 in 2024, 87.6 in 2025. Again, that is very rare. Same with his tackling and coverage grades. They were great. And green, and blue. Here's a quote from Todd McShay. He has the best instincts and recognition skills of any defensive back I've evaluated since Ed Reed.
Oh, gosh.
Some other comps that I've seen for Caleb Downs, Minka Fitzpatrick.
I like the Minka Patrick better.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
He's turned into Minka Patrick later on in his career.
Yeah, he dropped the Fitz.
Dropped the Fitz.
Minka Patrick. Good God. Minka, this is... Cut this, Josh.
Yeah. He'll love to.
Minka Fitzpatrick.
There we go.
He was comped by that's who his comp was by Daniel Kelly of The Ringer, Antoine Winfield by Trevor Sikkema of PFF, and then Buda Baker and Eric Berry. So I love those comps for him. I think that's the type of guy that Downs is. He's a hybrid of all those awesome players. He's got the ball skills range of Minka Fitzpatrick. Got it there. Got a knack for being around the ball like Antoine Winfield. He's good in the run game and making plays in the backfield like Buda Baker and Eric Berry. So just the complete package at safety. In the mocks I've looked at, he goes as high as 3, and he's gone no later than pick 10.
Wow.
So, I mean, if this holds, this would be the best draft capital we've seen for a safety since Jamal Adams was drafted 6th overall in 2017. So, yeah, I mean, to recap, being touted as generational, likely going to be a top 10 pick. He's a great tackler and playmaker with great instincts and play recognition. Productive immediately at Alabama and carried that on to Ohio State. You ever heard of those schools? So just a lot to like here. I think the popular thought with Downs is going to be, this is an awesome safety class. I will say a lot of really productive guys, but I think the thought is going to be wait on Downs, take whoever falls, out of these other guys. But man, I think Downs is going to be a great player, and he's going to be someone you don't want your opponent to have. So I'm okay taking using like an early 2nd, early 6th round pick on him.
Yeah.
And I mean, also like with the hype at the position, like when you see a player like a rookie like Nick Amanawore do what he did, it kind of like boosts the value of the position a little bit. Like I feel like people will be more willing to spend a higher pick on him. So I think you're actually going to have to use like a early 2nd if you want to secure Caleb Downs, but he's one of those guys where I don't think you'll regret using an early pick on him.
Yeah, to agree with you in a lot of, the things that you've said, I think he's perhaps one of the fastest, most instinctual defensive backs to come out of college in a while. Not only is he insanely fast, he's also Josh Downs' brother. Shout out Kyborg for that little pull.
They do a podcast together.
Oh, yeah. Can track down in coverage, has fantastic hands. Honestly, he'll be able to play wherever he is asked to line up, box, deep, slot, out wide, essentially basically anywhere a defensive coordinator is going to ask him to. I think in Addy's ranks, you're going to pretty quickly see him being able to, kind of be the same as like a Iman Wari, K-Ham, Tyke, Branch type of value. But, I mean, honestly, even pretty quickly, I think you could see Downs surpass some of those guys potentially.
He's already in the ranks, Bob.
Oh, boy. Where we got him?
We have him 2.
I like it.
We got him 2. I mean, it's Amanawore is number 1, Downs 2, K-Ham 3, Brian Branch 4.
You know what I like about Downs is that what he's coming in the league as. It's not like an Isaiah Simmons to where it's like, what's he going to play? Yeah. And it's not like an Avrell Reese to where it's like, what position is he going to line up as? That's kind of been some of the frustration. I'm not relating Reese and Jihad Campbell, but they were kind of similar to where it's like, is he going to be,
right, yeah.
Where
That's
are we
the conversation
where
with
are we going to use him? So sometimes in the NFL, especially in terms of IDP, when there's these tweener guys, they don't work out. I mean, 4 out of 5 times, I feel like they're kind of a bust. Yep. But with Downs, with the comps that he's getting, with the hype that he's getting, with the play, with the production, I don't know that he'll even test. He might not even run. And
no reason for him to.
Doesn't have to.
And honestly, testing may hurt him because it's hard to stand out like at that position. Especially, he's not like a 6'4" freak type, Yep. So it'll be hard for him to be like if he's like in the 9s for the RAS scores, like that's
impressive,
super impressive.
6 foot 205. But you're right, Addy. I don't even know if you said this, but in the Blues, PFF every single year. 85, 87, 87 overall PFF grade. So
because also like with the athleticism stuff in the RAS score, like remember like Brian Branch was like a 5.
Yeah, very low.
Winfield was like in the 6s.
Not great.
So I mean, it's not a death knell or anything like that.
I agree. I think even in some leagues, you're going to see Downs as like a late first. People aren't going to be able to help themselves. 110, 111 range.
I think so too.
And honestly, given this offensive class, I don't hate it. I mean,
no.
How many times last year would you have rather grabbed Iman Wari over like Caleb Johnson?
Yeah.
Or Iman Wari over, like Trey Harris.
Yeah, you'd love to.
Carson Swesinger over, Baishal Tootin.
any of those guys really.
There's just a lot of those IDPs when you can grab one or two of the top guys off the board in regards to IDP. Sometimes they're a safer. They look like a reach in the moment because we don't know what we know. And some of the offensive guys that go behind those picks are gonna hit. There's gonna be a couple of those guys that hit, but more often than not, I feel like I did an article at some point for the website in the last couple of years that basically like half of the first round hits, 25% of the second round hits, 15% of and so like the further on you get, the less odds of any of those guys hitting.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the thought, like, I want good players on my team.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I feel confident this dude is a good player, going to be playing for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's he's the safe pick.
Yeah.
You know, if you end of the first, like I wouldn't be mad at it. And again, especially like in a class like this that's so down.
Sure.
And there are so many question marks. Like, let's just take this stud safety that I'm going to have for a decade.
Yeah. Well, last year is different than this year. Like, Travion Henderson is going to work out. Quinshon Judkins is going to get healthy.
Yeah, that wasn't the move last year.
It is not. I mean, there were 7 to 9 guys that are going to end up being pretty good studs in the NFL. I feel like out of this class, we're talking like 4 to 5.
Yeah.
You know, maybe studs that are still in the NFL in the next 4 to 5 years.
I think so too. But I think IDP wise, I think there's a lot of talent. So there is going to be that discussion of like, do I wait and get some of this value,
or just reach,
or do I get the cream of the crop, as some like to say? You know,
I like it. Or just trade out. We talked about that with Kyborg.
Yeah.
Move to 2027, or maybe even move back a little bit to a safer IDP spot. But
I think you want your seconds and thirds.
Agreed.
If you're in IDP leagues.
This doesn't feel like a good 4th and 5th year. Because I feel like a lot of those 4th and 5ths, as far as IDPs, will really need to be in that like 3rd round this year because the offensive depth is not going to be there. I don't think.
I think you're right. A lot of sloppy 3rds and 4ths in those rounds.
Yeah, seems yucky. It'll get deeper. We'll find some guys that we like.
Sure.
But early on, this is just the quick indications. All right, we're going to talk about 2 more of the studs, and then we'll talk about some of the rest of this class. But edge David Bailey here out of Texas Tech. Addy, why do you love him?
Just an awesome player, man. He's 22.4, was a 4-star recruit. I mean, I think we got to start with the fact that he doesn't wear gloves.
Yeah, that's baller mentality.
You know, so, I mean, love that. And it also like encapsulates the type of player he is. It's like, he's like a no nonsense. He's not flashy, just strong, explosive, fast, relentless motor.
Love it.
2025, he led FBS in pressures with 73, and his 22.1% pass rush win rate was 15th. Again, that's out of the entire FBS. When you look at his career numbers, he put up 172 pressures with a 19.1% pressure rate. So this is an elite rate. David Bailey was also a great in the run game. He had a 7.1% tackle rate, which is very, very good.
Yeah, that's healthy.
One of the best rates in the class. Looking back at some other, of our faves in their college careers, Aiden Hutchinson had a 7.6 tackle rate in college. Jared Verse was 7.1. Will Anderson was 6.9. Max Crosby, 6.9. So again, like that speaks to his motor. It's not a coincidence that all these guys that get after it nonstop, they all have good tackle rates. Again, that's a big effort stat.
Yeah.
So good company to be in there. I mean, you love the fact this dude is creating pressures. He's relevant in the run game. All the mocks I've seen, he's going as high as number 2 and no later than 12. So I like me some David Bailey. He's not like, he doesn't blow you away like when you look at him or anything. Like some of these guys just have a presence. He really doesn't. But dude, he makes things happen. He's constantly affecting plays.
Yeah.
I like him. He's not sexy, but he's pretty sick.
You know, and how often in here, especially in IDP, do we go back to production? 14.5 sacks last season in college.
Yeah.
That's sticky, man. I mean, that's
with all the pressures too. That's the thing. It's like, it's not like it's
exactly.
It's coming off of 10% pressure rate.
Agreed.
No, he's leading the country in pressures.
Yeah. It's just so often that we go back to production being the main reason that these players succeed in the NFL. I agree with you. He has tremendous amount of bend for somebody his frame. You know, he's only 6'3", 250. So he's not he's not huge by any means. He's not a Daniil Hunter or a Brian Burns. He's not going to just overwhelm you. I see him as a little faster, but kind of a smaller Dallas Turner, kind of Nolan Smith type.
Yeah.
I'll work on that comp a little bit more, but just
Just a little more rugged.
off the cuff, he is a
Not
little
as sexy as those guys. Those guys are a little.
not a first off the bus type of guy. But once you see him play, it's hard to look away from.
Yeah.
Very productive type of guy. I'm very interested in him because I feel like David Bailey is a guy that, mid-second, late second, but could get you some really, really good production in his rookie season.
And they're going to land in probably a pretty good spot where that team has a big need, like the Jets, the Cardinals, the Titans, just like Avrell Reese, and just like...
And going to get a lot of playing time.
Oh, yeah, immediately. And I think he's going to be a good locker room presence. Remember, the guy was at Stanford for 3 years. Yeah. So, probably not dumb.
Doesn't seem to be the James Pierce type to where it's like, we need to keep keep an eye on him.
This dude's going to be just working all the time.
Not waking up Abdul, trying to get him to practice.
Yeah, I think so.
Locker room guy. That's what we're here for. Rueben Bain, the next edge we're going to talk about out of Miami. Pretty productive there as well. Not quite as productive as David Bailey, but just as impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is also very, very good. I favor Bailey a little bit, but I think Bain is going to be very good. It's hard not to compare this dude to Jared. Maybe it's just the Miami jersey and helmet.
Yeah.
But he reminds me a lot of Jared Verse.
Yeah. I think that Bailey is the most impressive, but I think Bain might be the most explosive edge in the class.
Yeah.
Tape wise,
definitely powerful too.
He's I wrote down he's a load to handle, and it's healthy, honestly, to see him with 9.5 sacks last week. That's hilarious. Last season. Shed blocks well in the run game. 121 tackles over 3 seasons as well. Gives us a nice points floor. So I agree. I think that honestly, Bailey fits your archetype a little bit better to where he's probably not going to have as many tackles, but he's going to be a better pass rusher. But I think that Bain could be the overall better player.
Yeah, I think they're both going to be solid tackle. I don't know with Bailey, man. That's 7.1% tackle rate. Really surprised me.
That's true.
But Bain, same thing. I think he's like a 5% tackle rate for his career. But he's wins with power, strong hands, go-to move is his bull rush. So very Jared Verse-esque.
Yeah.
But I said same thing. I think he's a great run defender, nice tackle floor for us. In all the mocks I'm looking at, he has not fallen outside the top 10.
Yeah.
Typically going in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, I think he's going to be very, very good. I think you're going to probably be spending a mid-second to late second on this dude in your rookie drafts.
Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with that.
Totally fine with that.
Yeah. I feel like there's going to be...
Also, he's 21. Unlike Jared Verse. Jared Verse was, old as hell. He was, 23, 24 his final year for Miami.
Yep.
21.4 for Rueben Bain. So, yeah, I'm excited about him.
I agree. I'm starting to get really frustrated with Verse the more I've kind of gone back and watched some of the tape. He's just a bull rush guy.
And that's kind of that's why I have Bailey ahead of Bain.
Yeah.
Just because I think that Bailey has the higher ceiling.
I don't disagree.
I think Bain is going to be a guy that's more in the 8 to 12 sack range.
Agreed.
Every year, whereas Bailey could have a couple years where he's hitting 15. If he is going to we'll see how the tackle stuff translates. But if that does work out and he's doing both, oh boy.
Yeah. It's exactly what you want in IDP. We're not going to talk about every individual player moving forward because there's a lot of them here in the doc. But
those are the 4 we wanted to hammer. Those are the guys that are all going top 10 for the most part in all your mocks.
Yep.
You'll be spending, second-round picks, I'd say, on those guys.
Yeah, none of those guys.
Maybe a late first on a couple of them.
None of those guys I'm worried to select. None of those guys I'm worried about. All of those guys have, honestly, maybe the most worrisome one is Reese.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you might have to draft him first, and his production is the one that's the most head-scratching.
And the position stuff, it's
agreed.
It's just, I think so as well. But I do think he has, the potential to be one of those Micahs, Abdul Carters, but
you need him to be an edge. You really don't want him to be a
But again, it's like, should I take that risk when there are these
For sure.
Downs is pretty special.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I'm not
Bailey seems like he could be a thing. Bain, I mean,
I think there's going to be a lot of ADP that you look up and Downs was the first selected in this draft.
100%.
And Bailey was the first selected in this draft. And I feel like there's going to be
that top 4 will be interchangeable probably.
Yeah.
Because they're all going to get good capital, it seems.
I feel like Bain will probably be towards the bottom in most of them, as far as like the bottom 4. But I feel like those top 3 guys especially are going to be just interchangeable. Just what does your team need?
Right.
And it is kind of
Reese is going to be the highest drafted. He's going to be looking like a star on draft night.
It is
He's going
interesting.
to kill the combine.
It's interesting too. Kyborg said it in the first half of the episode about, Kyborg plays IDP now, and he's kind of just talking about how don't you just want kind of crappy cornerbacks, the ones that are getting targeted. And that's a route that you can take. I mean, if you're playing DB, you're playing on sleeper, and you can start cornerback or safety. That's a route you can go. I mean, your rookie corners are going to get targeted in some regard, but it's also really cool to have Tyke Smith. It's also really cool to have Brian Branch and K Ham and Antoine Winfield and Derwin James, and just kind of have that piece of
We're old men. We want to know what we're going to get.
Dude, I mean, having Caleb Downs just locked in every single week, and that's just one less thing that you don't have to stream,
Life ain't getting any less busy.
Dude, and maybe the NFL is valuing that safety position a little bit more,
I think so. I think they're valuing safety more. I think they're valuing linebacker. Like for a while, it was getting pushed way back.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the success we've seen recently in Jack Campbell, Fred Warner, Carson Swessinger, we're gonna start. That's why I think we're seeing Sonny Styles, we're seeing CJ Allen. It's I don't know that I feel comfortable taking these guys either.
Yep.
But it's just because NFL's always chasing.
Yep.
That next thing, right?
Yep.
And it seems like linebackers having a bit of a glow up right now, so they're okay spending the capital on them.
We had that Isaiah Simmons year to where we were all kind of like, oh gosh, and then a year or two after that, there weren't any linebackers really drafted that high.
Right.
But you're right now that all of a sudden Jack Campbell's kind of working out, and we're kind of seeing a resurgence there from Carson Swessinger being like, let's draft a linebacker early and let's get a guy who's headsy, but
and a return to the run game as well. That's helped.
Yeah. Maybe Jack Campbell and Swessinger are just different though, especially Swessinger. That dude looks like, he just looks like the next coming of Kuechly.
Yeah, it's not something I really want to chase.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
Also, could you imagine if the Arizona Cardinals draft Avrell Reese?
I know.
After they're like that, to do that to that fan base after drafting
Yeah.
Hassan Reddick, Zaven Collins, Isaiah Simmons.
Jeez.
Let's see what Avrell Reese is going to be.
Let's draft another guy that's exactly like the same as these other ones. So let's hit on some of these next guys. I'm gonna have some names in here, and I'll highlight some, and we'll talk about a few of them as the Rams are all of a sudden on Sports Center, and that
Losing
was
the
when they
Super Bowl.
lost. That's cool.
You can turn it off. You need to.
That's enough. That's enough of that. Sonny Styles, linebacker for Ohio State. He was a guy that had a lot of buzz here in the last couple of years, and is going to get some pretty relevant draft capital in the NFL draft. CJ Allen, linebacker out of Georgia, very similar situation. Now I don't know how to say this guy's last name, but I really like him. Safety out of Oregon, Dylan Thineman.
Yeah, something like that.
Thineman,
maybe.
I'm kind of into Dylan. I think Dylan could be a guy. Another safety, Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo. Another guy that I like, A.J. Halsey, safety out of LSU. Edge, T.J. Parker out of Clemson. Addy, any of these guys that you want to highlight before we list some of the rest of the guys here at the end?
I guess we should just talk a little bit about all of them,
Yeah, sure.
Passing. Sonny Styles, I mean, this is, I guess depending on how you classify Avrell Reese, this is the
First
linebacker that's going off the board for the most part in all these mocks. And I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's fine. There's nothing like the production, anything that's like crazy. I mean, he put up 182 tackles over his last 2 years, 17 TFL, 7 sacks. But I mean, all the people I trust, they really, really like this guy.
Yeah.
I got a quote here from Brugler. Styles is a 6'4", 243-pound linebacker who used to be a safety, and he still runs like one.
Yeah.
Brings coverage instincts, improving work as a run fitter, and pretty fearless mindset. Here's a quote you guys will like. Styles could be the linebacker version of Seattle's safety hybrid Nick Gamanawure.
Ooh.
So I like that quote a lot. But it's like, with the depth of this class, you're gonna have to spend a second round pick, I'd say, on this dude. If he's gonna be drafted top 15,
Yeah.
he's gonna be drafted no worse than like a late second in your rookie drafts.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know that I feel comfortable doing that, especially when you consider the fact that, man, I really love the linebackers.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, and
sure.
6 in this class.
Yeah. That's kind of how you always are, though.
Yeah.
You're never gonna reach for the Jack Campbells. You're gonna let them go in the mid-second, and then you're gonna let the rest of these guys fall to you in the third.
For the
and fourth,
most part, yeah.
and let one of them work out. Sonny Styles, though, is interesting. He's kind of huge. 6'5" is what I had him at. 243. He stands his own in the run game. Can cover decent as well. Pretty good speed for his size. Great tackling. Plays smart. I think he reads offenses pretty easily. I think a smart team will draft Styles, and I think Styles could be very productive for us in IDP. I think if he goes to a bad team and they let Styles actually get some run, I think he could be good for us in IDP in his rookie season.
Yeah.
Maybe that's me being way too optimistic, but I like the way he plays.
Well, it seems like he's probably going to go to a baddish team. He's being mocked inside the top 15 pretty much everywhere I've seen. So,
Yeah.
Grades were great for him, though. I mean, 88.5 overall PFF grade in 2025, 71.4 in 24, and then 76.1 in 2023.
Yep. I like it. Very healthy. C.J. Allen, linebacker out of Georgia. I'll hit on him first a little bit, Addy. I like Allen's size, 6'1", 235. He's a little bit slow at times, but he is a sure tackler. I honestly could see him being a good LB2 to a bigger linebacker like a Landman, Foye, Jack Campbell being LB2 in those situations. And I see him being a developmental type of player to where in a couple years he could potentially be the LB1 for a team. I heard a guy, I don't remember exactly where I was listening, but kind of relate him a little bit to kind of like Roquan. Roquan's not super fast, but a very sure tackler, can get some TFLs and everything. So I think Allen is kind of the same regard. 205 tackles over 3 years at Georgia, 13.5 TFLs, and then 4.5 sacks. So pretty decent production.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to probably get everything I'm seeing is like late first for him in these mocks. So late first, early second capital. I mean, that's going to be very nice for a linebacker. But 13.9% tackle rate at Georgia.
Healthy.
Very healthy. Young as well, 20.9 years of age. So, it might take a second for him or two to get a full-time role, but also maybe not. I mean, these Georgia guys have really worked out well. I mean, their main linebacker that gets drafted every year, they've down through the list, they've all been pretty solid, man. I mean, Nakobe Dean hadn't been able to stay healthy, but he's been good. Quay Walker, Devin White,
keep going. Go through a lot of them.
Who was the other one I used to love? Lincoln.
Yeah, they've had a lot of them. But yeah, I agree with him. You think mid-third?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
he's going to be mid-third.
Because I'm with you. I think you might have to wait a little bit. I mean, I think he's going to play early, but I don't know that you're going to see like a healthy playing time. I don't think you're going to see north of 50% of snaps for a guy like that. But I think that he's got a decent head on his shoulders, and he could learn pretty quickly. Let's get to a safety that I think is pretty cool out of Oregon, Dylan Deninamon. I don't know how to say his name, but I think he's going to be very useful at the next level. Plays bigger than his size at 6 foot 205. Hits hard, sure tackler. 8 interceptions over 3 seasons shows that he has the ability there as a deep safety. 6 of those interceptions coming in his freshman season, which is also very impressive. Very headsy type player. Probably start as a deep safety in my opinion in the NFL, but in IDP I think we've kind of debunked the myth that we can't play deep safeties. I think that, there's worlds where in the right defense and in the right situation, those guys are just as valuable in IDP.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to get comped to like Harrison Smith a whole bunch,
Yeah.
Just
I like that. Can come down, but can also cover.
Right. But yeah, I mean, this guy productive immediately as a freshman at Purdue, posting 106 tackles and 6 INTs. As a sophomore, he put up 104 tackles and 7 PDs. Transferred to Oregon for his junior year and put up 96 tackles and 1 sack.
So almost 3 years of 100 tackles.
Yeah, I mean, 306 tackles across 39 games.
Yep.
That's 7.8 tackles per game. Thieneman, one of the best tacklers we've seen at the position.
That's it. Thieneman.
Is that it?
Good call.
So 7.8. So for context, Derwin James averaged 7.2 tackles per game. Nick E was at 6.6. Brian Branch, Cahan, they were both at 4.5. And again, those are just based off raw stats off of Pro Football Reference. But our friends over at PFF, they have him at a 12.7% tackle rate. So that was tops among all safeties, and fifth among all players in general. So he did this despite not having the most ideal alignment. Just 41% of the snaps were played in the box, slot, or defensive line. But don't let that scare you too much, folks. When you DYOR, that means do your own research. You will see that the usage got much more favorable, and he played less and less free safety every year. So 702 free safety snaps as a freshman, 450 as a sophomore, 247 as a junior. So
got closer and closer.
Every year just got better. Thieneman graded very well for PFF, putting 89.5 overall PFF grade. As a junior, 72.4 in year 2, and 89.5 in year 1.
Safety 2 behind Downs right now in the class. You like anybody more?
Man, that's tough. I think so. I think you're splitting hairs there with
McNeil Warren.
Yeah.
Okay. They're both similar to you.
They're both great. Yeah. And
Okay.
I mean, even like, if you're able to scoop up some Halsey, like we'll talk about, like, I mean, in the 4th, 5th, like that's a pretty good play too. So if you don't want to spend up at safety, that's the great thing about this class. It seems like there's going to be options as we'll get to some of these other guys too.
Yeah, we'll hit McNeil Warren and Halsey real quick. McNeil Warren, 214 total tackles in 4 seasons at Toledo. He had 11 TFLs, only 1 sack, but did have 5 interceptions. Has some really big hits on film for a 6'2", 205 backer. Like I said, 214 tackles over 4 seasons there, 5 INTs, fumbles, which is also cool. He can slip blocks, make tackles, but also can channel his inner Malachi Starks. I don't know how to spell that there. It was late night.
Names are hard. Yeah, good God.
Yeah,
Names are hard.
They are hard.
Words are hard.
Malachi Starks, he can play above the rim if he needs to. I don't know that he is going to be an elite IDP asset, but I do think that he's going to be worth rostering. Whereas AJ Halsey, I really like in terms of the best maybe deep defensive backs to go on. Maybe there's nobody better than Halsey in this class. Really good instincts, moves well with the ball in the air, hits hard in the run game, might have the most impressive, like, wow type of plays if you're watching his tape. He's going to pop. I think his stock is going to rise after the NFL Combine, and I think I'm going to have a lot of A.J. Halsey. He's my next safety probably off the board.
Yeah, he was also a really, really good tackler, 12.4% tackle rate. He averaged 7.2 tackles per game. So, yeah, good stuff. And, I mean, I think you're going to be able to get that guy
Fourth
of that group.
I think so too.
Of a very good group. So, and I'm sure there'll be other guys that emerge as well that we like. Again, this is just very early on, digging through all the numbies.
Yep.
If you get in the spreadsheet, we have over 50 guys ranked right now. List is at 73. So
Nice.
we've got a lot of stuff cooking up right now, and it'll be tightening up as the days go.
And it's super, super early. I need people to understand it's February the 3rd. And, we don't really want to get into this rookie content too early, but Josh kind of made us get into it.
Sure.
Thanks,
Josh.
You need to set the curve. We need to, at the IDP show, we need to be here for you. And we've had a lot of people asking about, especially the big names, the Avrell Reeses, the Caleb Downs, and it's about time for us to start getting into some of these rookies. But let's finish off the episode talking about the rest of some of these guys, and you just tell me who we want to hit here, Adam. So we've got edge TJ Parker here out of Clemson. We've got linebacker Anthony Hill out of Texas. We've got IDL Peter Woods out of Clemson, Cassius Howe, edge for Texas A&M. We have edge R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma. Adam has here as a sleeper. Edge Akeem Masidor out of Miami, another guy that I've watched him a little bit, and he's got some pretty fun tape. Edge Keldrick Falk out of Auburn. Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker out of Texas Tech. Jake Galladay, linebacker out of Cincinnati. Aiden Fisher, linebacker out of Indiana. And that will wrap us up. So, Addy, let's pinpoint a couple of these guys to finish the episode, and let's send the good people off.
Okay, let's start with TJ Parker
Okay.
real quick, out of Clemson. Gotta love the early production at Clemson, 32 tackles, 12.5 TFLs, 5.5 sacks as a freshman, and then 57 tackles, 19 TFLs, 11 sacks as a sophomore. Production drops off senior year, but really when you look into it, he just played 464 snaps, where he played 640 in 2024 and 548 in 2023. So the advanced metrics were good and everything, so I wouldn't be too scared off by that, but the TFL stood out to me. 41.5 tackles for loss during his time at Clemson. That's 1.64 TFLs per game. It's a very, very good rate. A lot of the guys we know and love had very healthy TFL rates like that. So out of the 22 pass rushers I have in the sheet, that was number one. So
yeah.
Like to see that. PFF, 13.1% pressure rate and a 6.5 tackle rate. So from the tape I've watched of this guy, I thought he was very impressive. He's big, fast, long arms, sheds blocks quickly. I see this guy drafted like late first in all these mocks, and I feel like I'm maybe missing something, but maybe they're just scared off of that final year and the dip in production. But he's very impressive to me. I like him.
I agree with you. Being a Clemson fan, it worries me, you know?
Yeah, right.
How many of these guys now have we overdrafted and overvalued in IDP? So the lineage has got me worried as a Clemson fan. But I'm with you. I like his game. I think he'll profit at NFL team. I'm just not sure what the production is going to look like in the NFL, like off the edge. I like his size, though. Everything that you said, I can't disagree with you. But also,
it'll be like a rotational piece for you, like a nice edge 3, I think, for your team.
I like that.
I wouldn't go crazy like to draft this guy. I wouldn't like go get your guy type of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But
let him fall to you.
Yes,
he's available in the 4th or 5th. I'm gonna smash that.
Preferably 5th, right?
Preferably
there's probably
5th,
going to
sure.
be some of these other linebackers that we like or safeties there in the 4th.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's going to be a guy that slips and falls, especially if he's getting drafted like late first, early second, maybe. You know.
Just because he's out of Clemson, though, I'm gonna have to pass on him.
I understand.
I want to talk about Anthony Hill real quick. Look at that sophomore season: 113 combined tackles, 16.5 TFLs, 8 sacks, an interception, a PD, 4 forced fumbles. Holy smokes! He does need some refining in the NFL, and he needs a little bit of help diagnosing offenses and stuff. But in my opinion, he's got the traits. Kind of hype on Anthony Hill a little bit.
Yeah, that sophomore year certainly stands out. We love to see things like that. It's a fun linebacker group. Let's just go ahead and bounce down to the other
Please
linebackers.
do.
Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech. 3-star recruit. He's 23.4, so a little bit older of a prospect, but man, this dude also racked up the stats. Final 2 years at Texas Tech, 255 tackles, 21.5 TFLs, 6 sacks, 5 INTs, 10 PDs, 10 forced fumbles, including 7 in 2025. So little Ivan Pace Jr.-esque right there, right?
I like it.
But I think this guy is he was at the Senior Bowl and apparently very impressive. I think he's going to probably get like 3rd or 4th round draft capital.
Yeah.
And I mean, if he becomes a starter, like he's going to produce. Like he's going to be someone that like I think is very useful for us in IDP. So I like him quite a bit. Again, I am much more in the camp of like Sonny Styles, CJ Allen. You can have them.
Yeah.
I'll take Jacob Rodriguez. I'll take Jake Golday.
If I'm going to throw darts on linebackers in IDP, I want to throw darts on the ones that have the crazy tackle TFL numbers.
100%.
I don't want to throw darts on the metrics and the brass and the way they look at
for any
Indianapolis.
position outside of edge. Right?
Exactly.
Like I'm not chasing those combine.
What did you
things.
do in college? How productive were you in college as a tackler? Because then all of a sudden, like, look at Cedric Gray. Like, Cedric Gray got a lot of run last year. I'm sure we could go around.
And he filled it up. Yeah, it's these guys are who they are. They just need the opportunity.
Tacklers.
It's just hoping they get those opportunities. You know.
I agree with you, Adi. I think that Rodriguez could have a real role in the NFL. And again, like you're saying, don't reach for him, but just throw a little dart throw on him.
Yeah, fun. Also, another fun stat about Golday, about Rodriguez. I'm myself.
Yeah.
I told you guys I was going to look at some of these rankings on college football 2026. 97 for Jacob Rodriguez.
Oh, gosh. Uh-oh.
Shout out Cy, man.
I know that raises the ranks a little bit for you.
I mean, that made my ears perk up a little bit. So yeah, we moved him up a spot or two because of that.
I like it.
Jake Golday out of Cincinnati, 22.7. I've seen him recently comp to Peyton Wilson, so I really enjoyed that. He's a tall, like a 6'4", rangy linebacker.
Decent senior season there. 105, 6 TFLs, 3.5 sacks. That's a fine year.
Yeah, it's solid. But I mean, I think this guy's going to also just be potentially very useful for us if he gets, day 2 capital, which I feel like he'll be on the edge of. Maybe he's an early 4th, but yeah, I'm interested in him. And then Aiden Fisher out of Indiana. He's a guy that solid player, solid tackler, good leader there. Pretty productive. Especially early before, he was at James Madison before he transferred to Indiana. But yeah, I think he's another solid player, probably going to be drafted in the first 4 rounds, I'd imagine.
I like it.
But those are, I'm probably going to pivot. I'm probably not going to chase Sonny Styles, probably not going to chase CJ Allen. I'll probably, wait and scoop up one of those guys.
I like it.
Also, the edge guys, I guess we need to touch on real quick.
Yeah, please do.
Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M. He's a 4-star recruit. He had a 15.1% pressure rate for his career. PFF grades have always been good. He's a guy that's he's ranked 15th in overall on PFF's big board. He's getting mocked inside the top 20. So someone to pay attention to. I like a guy named R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma. He's 21.4. Definitely undersized, but man, this guy is a ton of fun to watch. Great motor. We'll see how he's going to need to test very well at the combine, but he's fun. And then Messidor, Akeem, 2 more.
Oh, yeah.
Akeem Messidor, the thing with him, yes, he really improved his stock, but he's also 24.8.
Yeah.
This was the guy out of Miami. I don't think I mentioned that. But
2 years at West Virginia, 4 years at Miami.
Yeah, dude, he's 24.8 years of age. So,
that's actually kind of young for how long he was in college.
That is true.
If you think about it that way.
That is true.
He did 6 years in college before he was 25. I don't know that I could say that.
Well, I'm thinking of that, and we're kind of on that same vein. AJ Halsey.
Yeah.
This is something I did not care for out of him. He played 3 different schools in 3 years.
That's worrisome.
Is that right? New Mexico to Houston to LSU.
Yeah,
What's going on there?
I was hoping you didn't bring that up about him.
What's going on, AJ?
I did see that as well.
Not very loyal, it seems. So that's a red flag for me.
Let's stick home.
I don't care for that.
Yeah, stick somewhere for a little while.
And then Messidor will be fine. I'm not interested in again, this guy is 24.8. He should be contributing immediately.
But if you look at the total career sacks, 35.5. I mean, I know it was over
good production.
It was over 6 years, so you got to take that.
And
into
he's
account.
also doing it against kids for the most part.
Exactly.
Keldrick Falk, another guy that I think you'll see rise a lot. This is one of the youngest guys in this draft. Maybe he might be the youngest edge rusher that I have in the ranks. 20.4. He's out of Auburn. He was a 4-star recruit. There's not a ton of production that we can hang our hat on. As a sophomore, he put up 11 TFLs and 7 sacks in 12 games, so that's okay. But for the most part, 10 sacks over 3 years. So there's not a lot. But again, this guy's very young. Metrics are pretty good with him. Getting mocked inside the top 20 as well. So we'll see. He's more of a
developmental young guy,
right?
But maybe has the potential.
Who was the guy? Michael Williams, Trayvon Walker type of same vein. He's going to take a little bit. Shamar Stewart, just a little bit of there's going to be some risk there with him just because there's a lot that we don't know. But for the most part, I think he's interesting. I mean, he's 6'6". He's probably going to test very well at the combine. So that's someone that we could see really rise.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see. Is that it for him?
I think we've hit all of them. Yep, we hit all the linebackers, and those were the edges you want to talk about.
Nice.
What any of these that you're sticking to? Who's the edge? Who's the linebacker? Who's the safety that you feel like you're going to have the most of?
Man, I think I'm going to have a lot of Jacob Rodriguez.
Okay.
I hope so. I hope I do.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Going to save some force. Hopefully I don't spin up any more than that.
Yeah, that feels comfortable.
But who knows? If he lands in a great spot with a weak room, that's a dude that'll. And Mike Woolward's going to be hyping this dude up to the
tackle rate.
moon. Yes,
Tackle rate.
100%. So we'll see. I mean, he's probably going to settle in the third, if the hype ends up being real for him.
But honestly, with this offensive class,
That's fine.
maybe that's all right.
It could be. I mean, it could be
Gets a little higher NFL draft capital than we were expecting. Maybe a third's fine.
whatever. I think he's going to work out if he gets the opportunity, if he gets that type of capital.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of offensive picks this year that are burned in the second, third, and fourth this year.
Right. Or they have this year and then they get replaced next year.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. That's
So,
true.
Yeah, it's a interesting class. I think if you play in IDP leagues, you should probably feel a lot better about it. But yeah, offense only, like, ooh,
Yeah, you can probably move it on.
someone come buy these picks.
I feel like I'll have a lot of David Bailey, and I also really like the Thininaman.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Thininaman seems like a safety that
Another one of those.
is going to get some role.
He's a good player.
Oh yeah,
I feel like this dude is going to be. I think Downs and
yeah,
Oregon safety are going to be here for a while.
I agree. Yeah, Downs feels like, honestly, I think Downs could end up being just the IDP one. Like, I think he could be consensus first one off the board.
Yeah.
I think he could even go over Avrell Reese just because of the ambiguity with Reese. I mean,
Right. Why take the risk?
if you listen to this show, you will probably have Downs over Reese. I think that will be the narrative that we will probably hone in on closer to actual rookie draft season. That will be probably the safer pick. Now, if you feel like you need to, stake your plan in, in Reese, go for it. But
Yeah, but again, it's like we talk about it all the time on the show. Like, there's that position is so deep now, and there's
Yeah.
so many different ways to manufacture points at that position. Like,
for sure,
do you need to take that risk?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
that's
Like,
true.
especially when you have like two solid ones behind him, and Bailey and Bain.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, we didn't mention Bain. Like, what a name!
Oh,
What-
yeah.
what a cool name.
I can't do it off the cuff right now. I would need to think about it for a while.
We need to do
the
it.
Bain
We need to
voice.
drop.
Yeah, we got to
for the season.
We got to get him on there. But yeah, so this has been a little rookie primer for y'all. It's going to be interesting to see what the NFL, kind of has value wise for some of these guys, and obviously the combine is going to change things, and it's going to raise some of these, edges. These young edge values they're going to all of a sudden be drafted in the first of the NFL draft, and all of a sudden these edges that we thought we were going to maybe sneak in the third or the fourth round are all of a sudden going to be second rounders. But if you play IDP and you're in, mixed offense and IDP leagues, you should feel a little bit of comfort this year, because for as maybe rough as the offensive class looks like so far in February of 2026, at least we've got some real studs coming out of this class in terms of IDP. So rest assured. And, I don't even know that we would have said coming out of the 2025 class that like Iman Wari is going to be a stud. Like I was optimistic. Like I love the production, but I was a little bit worried at the tape, because I think it was even maybe Sig that said Iman Wari gets a little bit lost at times in coverage, like in college. So I was kind of a little bit hesitant to take him. So there's going to be some guys that we're a little bit hesitant to take that are going to smash in the NFL. It's going to be
100%.
the opposite. We're not going to be all pessimistic all the time. Like there's going to be the NFL that shows us like, no, you were low on Halsey. Like Halsey is going to be better in the NFL than you
Yep.
thought he was.
Yep. 100%.
So don't just be hesitant. Don't be a timid drafter, but also don't go to the other side of things to where it's like, I've got to draft this fourth round edge in the second. Like
Never be like that.
this is
honestly.
my guy.
You
Yeah.
got to not draft with the heart.
Yeah.
You really like don't be attached to these guys.
Yeah.
Like
Do you have a Tyke this year?
I
Is it too early?
mean all these safeties are so good, man. Like
yeah. Too early.
I mean I'll be able to I'll be getting one of them. One of those four that we mentioned, like you'll be getting one of them will fall to the fourth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I feel like the narrative too, like I don't know, maybe we've already talked about it this episode, but I feel like it's just so much more refreshing to have a couple good safeties.
yes.
I don't have to worry about.
I agree, and that like I think that's like I think there's like that they get that a bad rap because they're
Yeah.
safety. It's like
Yeah.
there's always so much conversation about like, oh, you can just stream it or you can just figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like if you can find one of these difference makers,
Yeah.
and also think about if you already have a difference maker and you can get another difference maker,
yeah,
like you
yeah.
got a real advantage.
Elevate yourself.
So
Yep.
yeah, it's
Their values also kind of spike and drop quite a bit as well. Like I remember I picked up Antoine Winfield at some point last year when Tyke was kind of booming,
Right.
and Antoine was a little bit down, and then the second half of the season was a little bit the opposite. I was like, man, Antoine Winfield is a great player. Like all of a sudden, he's not just terrible.
No.
You know, so I mean, I feel a lot better going into the 26th season knowing Antoine Winfield isn't Kyle Hamilton, but he's also not like Jordan Fuller.
He could have a better year than Hamilton. Like we've seen him be safety one
And how often
not long ago.
How often do you see, like, you know, prior to the K-Hams and the Brian Branches and stuff, like, you know, you would have a safety 1, and then the next year they would be like safety 15.
Yeah.
Like that safety position is just very there's a lot of variation from one year to the next with that kind of stuff. Derwin has been great at times, but he's also been like the safety 20 at times, you know. You're never going to not start him. I mean, Derwin is really, really good, but I do think the narrative in IDP is shifting a little bit to where, we're going to draft some of these defensive backs, these cornerbacks, and these safeties, and we're going to put a little bit of value in them.
I want good players.
Yep.
I don't really care the position. If they're good, they're going to be around for a long time. You can come to my team.
And that was the narrative for a long time. You know, there was the let's just chase snaps and let's just chase targets. And, you know, that's a fine line to run on because that's kind of the Zach Cunningham type of life. We're just going to tread that 30 PFF grade for as long as it'll take us and get us as many tackles as it can. Or same with some of these defensive backs. Like I'm gonna run this cornerback that's getting targeted a ton. Well, guess what? He's gonna lose his job.
Yep.
You know, so it's like cool. He lasted for that year, but he has zero trade value anymore.
Yep.
Guess who still has trade value? Nicky Monwari, Kyle Hamilton, Devon Witherspoon, Cam Curl, Nick Cross, Antoine Winfield, Tyke
It's true
Smith.
because like the second a defensive back starts doing that stuff, like
Yeah.
you know, playing time starts fluctuating for them, their value's gone.
Oh, yeah.
No one's gonna trust or no one's gonna trade for that type of player.
But even too, like Kamari Lassiter, you know, Paulson Adebo, Pat Surtain, Christian Gonzalez. Like, I mean, good players stay on the field and they're
Yep.
going to be productive.
Yep.
So I do think that it is kind of fun to kind of change the narrative a little bit, and not that we're doing it tonight, but it is funny to see over the last couple of years that all of a sudden now I feel like the conversation around cornerbacks and safeties has changed for the better. And you're right, Addy. You know, just like edges, I want good player. I want good edges on my team. I want good safeties on my team.
Yeah, and you know, the safety usage has probably changed for them for like that increases their value.
Yeah.
With the way the NFL's going these days, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to adjust for it in fantasy too. Like you want if you can get your hands on some stud safeties,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, because we kind of know a little bit more. I mean, the linebacker position is ambiguous a little bit. Like we've talked about it.
And it's easier to figure out too, though.
Yeah. I mean, we hope Fred Warner comes back to health, and we hope that Roquan bounces back a little bit. But aside from that, I mean, there's your Schlesinger is going to be good. Your Jack Campbell's going to be good. But then what? Like, how much longer do we trust Zach Bond? I mean, is Nate Landman a rinse and repeat of 2025? Is Ernest Jones going to continue to ascend? But, I mean, you could go around the league and, like, Cedric Gray going to start in 2026. Like, what are they doing down in Houston next season?
Right. I mean, Tennessee could easily spend some draft capital on a linebacker.
Who is Houston's linebacker one going to be next year? Who's going to start in Arizona? I mean, I feel like in IDP, it's really a lot safer to put your value in edges and honestly in like safeties.
You can find a stud.
Good slot dogs.
I
Because
agree.
if you don't have a Schlesinger, sometimes it can be tough.
Yep.
It's kind of like running back a little bit. Like, cool, if you don't have CMC, you're liable to be chasing the Moan guys of the world.
Yep.
You can do it. You just got to pay attention. So, all right, we've given you now 2 hours of IDP primer. He gave you an hour of Kyborg, and you got an hour of me and Adam with no Josh. So you're welcome for that world. You're not going to give it again for a while. Josh better stick home for a good bit.
Yep.
I don't like him not being here.
I apologize for my performance on the first episode, the first part of this thing. I really haven't been dug into the offensive guys.
Yeah, well, this might be the year not to be dug into it. So thanks for joining in. We appreciate you. Go to the IDPshow.com. Consume it all. Consume the ranks. Consume the articles. Consume the IDP, the goodness.
Yep.
Get into the podcast, the IDP After Show. We're here for you in February, and we'll be here for you next February. So thanks for joining us. From Adam, from Josh, we appreciate you. We'll see you on the other side.
IDP show, IDP show, IDP show. IDP show, IDP show, IDP show. Yeah.